Okay, hello everyone, and oh, I think it's cutting in and out, but let's go. Okay, so I'm really delighted to introduce our second keynote speaker for the event. To introduce you all to Mariana Amazonas, who's an entrepreneur and eco-designer with expertise in ecological design thinking. So Mariana holds a master's degree from Schumacher College, as well as an MBA in innovation and entrepreneurship. Mariana co-founded Rhoda, which is an eco-fashion brand where she has driven innovative projects with a focus on circular economy principles, particularly in the repurposing of industrial waste. Drawing on over 15 years of experience in strategic planning and marketing for multinational companies, she brings together business acumen with socio-environmental purpose in order to tackle critical environmental challenges. Her work is concentrated on the integration of circular economy strategies and nature-based solutions, fostering resilience and sustainability across diverse industries. So please join me in welcoming Mariana Amazonas.
Thank you very much. I'll try to, be all these things that I'm intending to do. And I'm very glad to be here with you. It was a great opportunity. I really have to thank you because when you are an entrepreneur, you have to work so hard in order to make it happen. And sometimes you don't have enough time to study and to research again. So it's a very nice opportunity to be in touch with different technologies, different informations, different fields, because I am from a completely different field, despite the fact that all the time technology and AI are jumping into my face, and it always looks like a very nice opportunity to know more about, to use it in my business. It's hard to stop and to study a little bit and to refresh the way we've been doing business, the way we've been finding ways to thrive in a so hard and competitive market. So I will start talking a little bit more about me, not those words that I'm very, very, very much, how can I say, more than happy. I'm really very glad to find or to found a way of being here on Earth that I feel that I'm working more to the good, to the save of our planet and for the save of our species than to the bad. Although I know that I also not always good, if you know what I mean. And yes, I have all the things that we just hear, but I would like to share with you how nature and how the thing of ecology got into my life. I don't know if you heard about a concept called deep ecology. It is something quite different than just being sensible to nature or sensible to the kind of destruction that we've been doing in our planet, in our environment. It's more like how you feel as if you were nature, not only about taking care nature because it's useful to us, but feeling nature as part of yourself, like being aware that we are also part of this giant sphere and we are the earth too. And this is maybe, I don't know, probably some of you feel exactly like that. Some of you are thinking that I am a little bit crazy. But yes, the thing is that I'm not feeling that I'm working for save a part of this global, a part of this our species. I am really working together as a community with the animals, with the plants, with you, and we are all the same. We are all part of this whole picture. And this is important because, as we're gonna see during my presentation, uh, the most important thing that we really have to rethink, that we really have to change our paradigms, is about the whys, what we've been doing, why we've been doing like that. Because unfortunately, technology is a very, very nice and transformative thing, which is completely full of power of transformation. But we keep doing and using it the same way we've been doing for the last 200 years or more, or 2,000 years. We've not been really solving the main problem that we already have. How are we gonna keep our species in this planet? And it's quite a great job. So let's beginning talking about how we can move from the ego system to the ecosystem. How can we can become part of this whole system and not a species that thinks about themselves like they were special, like they have more rights than the others. How can we just resync ourselves and integrate ourselves as part of nature, as part of this whole society? And this is quite important, because really, if we keep thinking ourselves as special as someone who deserves more, who can take off nature, take off other people, we will keep repeating the same error. And I know that you like to learn with our old errors. And I really hope that this new generation can do better, can do something different, because my generation, I'm not sure if going to help you a lot. Please do something. Yes, and the other thing that I would like to spot is about the systemic thinking. At the same time that we were having this nice conversation during lunch, that we don't have enough time, also it's possible a great change, a great movement. Something could happen anywhere in the country that will change everything, because we live complexity. We live in a world completely connected. And this small spark can happen and the whole world could be a completely different place. It is amazing our ability, the skills that we developed as a species, and the kind of transformation that could happen if the right points were rightly combined. So keep faith. It is still possible that something really, really completely unpredictable happen and everything will become better. So we have to keep trying. That's the thing that I still believe, that's why I'm still here talking with you and doing something. Otherwise, if things just go the way it's been, there is no face for us, unfortunately. The numbers probably gonna see it along this week, no? And they will prove what I'm saying. So let's start talking and asking, what are our whys? How you, when you are working during this week, uh, completely change the way we've been looking for things? How can we challenge the assumptions? How can we inquire about things normally taken for granted? How can we completely change the way we've been thinking until now? This is very important. To create innovation, to create breakthrough innovation, we really have to take our old clothes off. And here in university, you have this opportunity, because when we are there, on marketing, doing business. We have all the time to think about the cash flow and the things that you have to deliver, the time and the clients. And it's very hard to really stop everything that you've been doing wrong or right and rethink it in a way that you can do here. You really have the opportunity of create things that could change the world. This is an amazing task, and we never needed so much than now, as far as I know. And wonder these new possibilities without without any kind of chain, any kind of religion, any kind of things that make you think that you are not able to do, that we are not able to do, that we are not smart enough to do. Because I really believe that we already have all the knowledge, we already have all the technology that we need. We just need to see in the right place, put the effort in the right place, consider everybody as part of the people, as part of the system that we have to save. Save, it's not the right word. I mean, that you have to work for. That we have to save everybody. Everybody, it's worthy. It's not about only us. This is very naive, maybe you can say, because probably you have a lot of other worries, like how can I'm going to pay the bill? How can I'm going to grow up or have a job or these kind of things. But yes, if you can now choose the right job to be, the right job to be will be the job that will improve the way you've been working, the way we've been making this planet a better place to live. So why am I not talking about only cases or examples how circular economy did a great job like Roda? We've been doing quite well. We like we had transformed 45 tons of things that are not recyclable, and we transformed it in a very, not only beautiful products, well designed, very sustainable, but also a way of proof to the world that it's possible. It's possible to take something that were supposed to go to the trash and transform it in something that people could look at it and say that there is hope. There is a way of doing things in a different way, in a better way. Why not? It is amazing how we can be so smart and so dumb at the same time, because we've been doing things in an old-fashioned way, in a way that is a completely suicidal way. So we have to change this form of thinking. And I really believe that we will live into a very different future if we answer the question in a different way. We have to change our whys. We have to stop keeping searching more money and more oil, because it's not the real why. This should be the consequence, and the world will be much better if you can share it with more people. And again, please, I had to really prepare myself to be here and not just saying the wrong things that I see around the world, and how it's hard to believe that we still can, because it's really hard. But I really don't think that it could be something that will help. And if there is a point of hope, if there is a point of life, if there is a way that we can really transform our experience here in a completely abundant, full of generosity, full of shared economy, with opportunities for all the people, uh, we can really find a way of being of flourish. We can really be the founders of a new civilization, a new era, a new way of relate with other people of our species and with the whole planet. And this is a point to start, really, because everything is related to our worldview. And education, here we are in an institution that are educating you to do something, in a way that you are worried equally about economy and about sustainability, about how people are being employed. Are your business based on exploitation, or are your business and your ideas are considering another way of doing business? If you are not doing that questions or making that questions for yourself very aloud, you are just going to repeat the old-fashioned model that brought us to the place that we are. So this is something that you have to keep like on your desk, to never forget. Every idea have to really contemplate and respect those principles. I didn't share with you, but the university that I went to, UK, it's called Schumacher College. It was found to a guy called Satish Kumar. He's a monk, um, a Jainist monk, and he was a pacifist. He is a pacifist. He's still alive, and he used it to work with Gandhi. And it's a long story of life, of fighting for peace. He did a very nice walk along several months to fight for with Washington, with Moscow, London, uh, in order to make them give up atomic bombs. And he did that just walking. And we realized it along this walking that people who were doing business in this very, very bad way, I mean, bad to people, bad to nature, bad to us. It was the most educated people in the world. In other words, it was really very nice and fine people very smart, people very with the whole opportunities, the opportunities to do anything that they wanted to do. But the universities that they've been studying were saying to them, or weren't saying to them the whole pictures. They were being educated to not consider nature, to not consider people. And of course that it has to be to our culture too. So he founded Schumacher College in order to educate people to think different, in order to educate people to contemplate a larger framework. And I think that we've been challenging now, that we're gonna have to, that phrase, if you don't learn with love, you're gonna learn with pain. And probably it's going to happen. It's already happening. And let's see if we're gonna be able to really make this movement. So let's talk about circular economy. I'd love to hear from you. What do you know about circular economy? Is it possible for some of you to say to me, please? I'm already saying something there, but please don't look at it. Be brave. Thank you. That's true. All right. Nobody. Come on. Yes.
Send it back to the factory for it to be filled up again, let's say. So I think that's the first thing. I think that's what like
Right. Perfect. Yes, it's the core of circular economy is based on that. Not only that, but yes, it's perfect. And 200 years ago, we started the linear process in an industrial scale. I mean, we take from nature, we make, and we waste. That's our linear process, and almost everybody produce like that. You always consider like to do your cell phone, you're gonna take a lot of minerals from nature, oil to do the plastic things, sand to do the glass, and you're gonna make the cell phone. After that, just a little bit will be saved, and I'm not being, it's really the true thing, just a little bit. The majority of the things that we make, sorry, better. The majority of things that we make nowadays go to the waste. And it's something very, very important to understand too, because we always say to people, let's recycle. Ah, no problem, it's recyclable. So we can use. No, wrong. It's very wrong because we've been recycling only 4% of our plastic, for example. The best country in the whole world that recycle things makes like 60%. In other words, 40% goes to whatever, nature, and probably we stay for the next 400 years there. Because if you're talking about oil, you're talking about plastic, it's very durable. Like polyester clothes, the first polyester clothes are still here. It's not destroyed, and it could be recycled, but there is another very important thing to explain to you. The process of recycling is not as good as we can think. Like it goes through a lot of steps with a lot of pollution that comes from this recycling process. So not always, if you are recycling, it's a good thing. The best thing is to not do it, not consume. It is the best thing. But I know that is impossible with everything. But I would like to hear from you if you think that we are wasting a lot of things during our consumption process. We are buying a lot of things that we don't need. And probably we are also throwing away before because our industry are now looking for more market, more money, and more consumption instead of less. Instead of doing things to be durable, they are doing things to be changed. So I don't know who here thinks that we could produce like 50% less than we've been doing. 50%. More than it or less? 50% of the things that we've been producing are not useful. It wasn't necessary to produce it. So 50% of our pollution could be avoided. Something like that. Or more. I don't have this number. But I guess there is more than that. And all right. So if you move to the circular economy, we have to redesign the way our industries are arranged. Like we have to start from the design process. We have to start it to the like I'm going to do this. For example, this cup. And I have to design not only the cup for its first consumption. I have to design what is going to be when it becomes a waste and how it's going to come back to the other industry to reprocess it, to transform it in a different thing. So I can, for example, choose the right plastic or the right non-plastic thing that will be used to this. There are several types of plastic with different kind of pollutions, different kind of durabilities. And we already know that. But if we don't think when we are designing this, it will become waste very quick. And it's something that could be avoided. So it's important to, because, for example, Roda is working on the end of the process. We are on the end of the pipe, but the complete circular economy process will start on industry. We start with the designers thinking about the whole life of a material. And would will be better if we start with a material that we don't take from nature again, but we take from another process, the waste of another process. So I save the material again. So instead of taking a new material from nature, that we already have a lot of stuff in our economy, in our houses, in our industries, we start with the waste. The way we work is like that. We start with the waste of Stellantis industries here in Goiânia. It was my point of starting. And I started to create new products with their waste. And there are a lot of things that we can do with their waste. All industries are full of waste that can do much better than just recycling. Recycling is the ultimate, it is the almost last chance to become sustainable. There are much other things that we can do first. You can avoid consume. You can avoid new materials. You can reduce by improving your process with AI. Yes, that's true too. And yes, you can transform. What is important in transform? Why transform is better than recycling? This is important. For example, this is my bag. This is from Roda. We use all the materials from Stellantis. So it's this is the leather from the car that was supposed to be wasted. This is the fast belt. And you can see there is a quite nice bag, beautiful. We designed it to be beautiful, not only to be sustainable. Here inside this t-shirt are the trousers from the workers. Yeah, they have a lot of workers there, a lot of trousers. And it was supposed to go to waste, and we reuse it. And why is better than recycling it and having a new material? It's harder because I have to work with in the way that I receive. So I receive it in a form of a trouser, not in a form of completely tissue that I can design whatever I want. I have to redesign that product based on the waste that I have. So I have to be more creative. And it looks like tough, but it's much more fun. You can have much more fun because of that. And then it is better because I keep all the properties of this thing. I don't destroy it to reconstruct. I use all the effort, all the energy, all the materials that went to build this tissue in a nice way. I preserve it. So I do what we call upcycling. Why upcycling? Because we add value. We don't destroy value. We add value to this by doing a product that have more aggregated value. So I can sell it in a way that pay the whole chain, that pay the chain to recover the waste and pay appropriately to the people who work for doing that job. So it's very important. Otherwise, your company are not thriving, because really we need to add value to this process. We need to not pay more because it's sustainable, but pay the right price to the process. So yes, we can make in a different way. We can redesign. If you start, the more you do it in the process of design, better. And instead taking nature materials, you can restore nature systems. Put effort in reforestation, put effort in depollute the rivers and all kind of places that we've been destroying along the time to explore new materials. So this is a completely different way of doing business. And it's very simple. You just have to put your effort and put your mindset with these priorities. It is a world of view change, a world of view completely different form of acting. And I have to say to you that our federal government are with a very nice plan, the ecological transition plan, something like that. And circular economy is one of the main actions they are putting as priority to our industry transformation. So there is hope. We can work with them on that. It's also important to separate the biological materials to the technical materials. It's completely different treatments. But I only brought this slide to show you. I think that it's not very nice. Are you listening to me? Yeah. So there are several ways of transform materials. You have to understand that and create the ways, create the path of transforming these different kind of materials. And there is no material that you can't transform. There is no material that you can't use somehow. Everything came from nature. Everything can be transformed again. You just have to put our brain in service of that. The right people, the right investment in order to transform it. We have plenty cases around the world talking about that. It is amazing how we are not moving faster towards this kind of economy, because it's going to be in probably a few years the only way that we're going to be authorized. You're going to be really able to produce something, because probably with the intensification with the climate change effects, in a very few period of time, very few years, we're going to be it's going to be impossible to produce in a linear way. So it's the only way. All right. And we are running out energy and materials. And now I want to bring some reflections with you based on what you've been studying. Any technology-based solution that need energy and materials can always be criticized as on the ground. Yes, you can say, no, but we are doing solar, or we are doing wind energy. And where are going the solar panel and the turbine, eolic turbines, after they are doing their job? there are a lot of ways that we still don't have a solution to them. And so, once more, it's not because you are doing better, more sustainable, that you can keep going in a very accelerated route, because it has problems too. So really think what you really need to do. Because in a culture of corporate greed and insidious disinformation, it is hard to know which expert to trust and which purpose solution is worth implementing. You have also to write this thing down and put on your desk, and always remember that if someone is saying to you that electric car is more sustainable than the regular one, not necessarily is true, because you have the batteries and all the impacts that you have coming from this, and you can have in for ourselves the alcohol, ethanol, that's for various regions of our country, it's better to use ethanol than electric. I'm not trying to say to you that it's better, because there are several arguments to say that it's better ethanol, and several arguments to say that it's electric car is better, depending on, for example, in UK, definitely electric car is not a good solution, because they have a very, very dusty chain of electric chain. So they are not doing very well until now. And cars that are very, very polluted. So what are you going to choose? Better is to choose something like walk, like going by bicycle, of course that it is. But sometimes you're going to have to choose something that will pollute. So it's better to do your homework and try to find the right way to, and not only believe what people are saying to you, because they are saying to you such a difference and informations that you can think that you are buying something very, very sustainable, but it's completely the opposite. So keeping that in mind, I brought something to share with you. Like, there are two different opinions, or both opinions are contradictory. Like, yes, AI could help to reduce emissions, but also now is increasing demand. Increasing demand of emissions and increasing demand of energy. Both are happening. Until now, we don't have the solution to really take advantage of what AI could give to us, or what technology can give to us. We only dream that we can use it. I mean, we are already doing that. We are already using it, but it's not proven that it really can help us in a way that we're gonna make the movement in the right directions. So it's not something that we can be completely sure. We have to test and we have to try it, having in mind that it could be the opposite. It could make us doing even worse. Okay, it's true that NVIDIA is already developing a super chip that is 30 times better in performance and things like that. Or data centers are becoming more efficient. You know this better than me. But now, this year, the Google's report, sustainable report, showed that they are improving their energy consumption in 50%. Microsoft improving their emissions in 30%. And probably because of their use of data centers, AI solutions. And it is, yeah, it's terrible to say that, because I love ChatGPT. It's amazing. I use that all the time. And I use that too to, to play it at school. All the kids are playing with that. And they have like 100 million users already doing very serious thing and doing not very good things too. And it's 10 times more. The span of energy is 10 times bigger than if you just go to Google and do a simple search. So we are using once more time a technology not necessarily in the right direction. We are using this technology without really considering the hidden impact of its sustainability. We are selling that it can solve our problems. But for now, this year, it is the opposite. It is complicating even more our life if we talk about global warming, if we talk about emissions, and if we talk about energy. I know that the technology industry is not the worst, like textiles, oil, and transportation, all these things use technology. So it's hard to say which industry are worse, but we have to wake up in all industries. And technology could really drive this to a better way, or just to keep us eluding ourselves that we are doing better. And nowadays, we are wasting, if you talk about only e-waste, 55 billion kilos of waste. It's estimated, sorry, the number is wrong. It's estimated to 2030, 82 e-waste billion kilos. And we only formally collected and recycled 22% of it. It's a lot. 22% is better than plastic. But it's still not the number that we need. It's still a problem. And probably we're going to regret when the gold, when the minerals are not so easy to find, so cheap, when all the people that is doing there with child labor or in a very bad condition of exploitation, of work, are not there anymore because they're going to be killed, because they probably is in a place that's going to suffer more. I don't know if you know that we live in a region that is the most exposed to global warming. We live in the city that are probably one of the first cities to be submerged by the sea. And we have here a bioma called Sertão and called Agreste, Caatinga. It's the kind of plants that we have there. They are going to desertification. It's one of the most exposed area of the globe, and probably gonna suffer more than the others. And yes, that's the kind of the problem that we've been facing. But okay, I promise to myself, that I also will bring the other side of things. And yes, of course, digital technology can be a sustainable game changer or an ultimate game over. You have to work to be the first. And of course, I saw a lot of solutions, a lot of exciting solution around what we can do with. It's amazing how the process could be redesigned. How can we use this to upcycle process? How can we redesign the products in the way that I shared with you? from the beginning to the never end. Like, yeah, AI could give us lots of solutions, and we can teach it to work with us in order to do a different way, in order to work in a different way. That's true. That's true. And we have to do that because AI, it's a reality. Nobody will stop it. Everybody is crazy about using AI in their process. So we have to use it to have more gains towards sustainability. Being very transparent, like it's very important to consider the whole chain, not only a little frame, a little spot of what you've been looking or producing. You have to think the whole process. You have to think the consequence of that. You have to think systemically, having the understanding that everything that we do is going to impact in different chains. Like, if you are trying to produce a new product, where does come from the raw materials that you're gonna use on that? If you are using a databases, is it possible to use some different material, different place that assure you that you can use, for example, sustainable energy? You have to do these kind of questions when you are doing whatever you are working on, because everything that we do have a cost, and you have to consider it. So the why must guide the what and the how. Doesn't matter if you're going to use AI or not, if you are with the right why, if you have the right worries, if you are doing all the questions that you have to do. We have to be brave. We can't just believe in people. Like, if a corporate is saying to you something, you have to question it. Because if you leave to them, they will have all the interests, not yours, not ours. So the question is how to co-create a world that works for all of humanity and all of life. Balancing AI energy use and emissions with its societal benefits takes in many complex interlinked challenges and requires a multi-stakeholders approach. And I'm sure that you're going to do that during this week. And I hope that you find lots of ahas in how to do that. And I have another very good news. This is a Three Horizons scenery. I don't know if you are aware about it, but it's very interesting because this matrix, they conceived something that for me it's also a sign of hope, because the big companies, the regular companies that are already going to market now, they are the age one. They are already doing money, they are already doing business, and the scenario of the world, in this scenario that we are living, they will start to fail. They will start to not being able to really deliver what the world gonna need. And they will use all the technologies, all the new ideas, all the innovation just to optimization. They are doing better money. They will improve their process just to get more money, just to get more consumers, and that's why they will start to fail. And the small startups, the H3, the new companies, the ones that don't have nothing to lose, then create a completely new thing, a completely new technology, a completely new way of using technology. those companies are the ones who really will be transformative, who really will be ready to this new market. To they really will change completely the scenario. They will be like when we move on music from CD, from compact disc to Spotify. This is the kind of game changer that we are talking about. But it will be the whole market. There will be some other companies to do the bridge between both, but the real innovation will come from the small companies, from the ones who it's really starting now. This is something that will really make the difference. Because if you are trying just to keep your market, you're not going to be there to really change it. And the market will be completely different. The thing that, as we know, is going to change completely. So you have the opportunity to found right here the company that will change the world, the company that will be the real big tech in the future, that will bring the real breakthrough innovation. So I want to be your partner. Let's see a little bit who is already doing some very nice things, and I brought to you to prove that it's possible. Do you know Fairphone? We don't have it in Brazil, but it's a very nice company as far as I know. You can talk more because they are building phones to last, different of Apple and all others. And so, and they also are very worried about the materials that they've been using. And they also allow you not only to buy a new phone, but to buy different features, only change, if something's not going well, you can fix it. It's a different way of looking for products. It's a way that make it. Oh, okay. Let's go. And so it's a company that's doing quite well. They are fighting with giants, So it's really hard to them, but they have a completely different purpose, and it's very nice to have someone trying to do that. And also, we have this other example that this is a whole island in Greece, Tylos, and they went to zero waste. They were able to influence, to engage the whole population with this work, because you can go to a real sustainable process without people participation. You have to have people on the same boat of you. They have to help the process. They have to be engaged on the process. This is a very important thing. And they were able to do that. And they are expanding to different parts of the globe. The company is called Polygreen. It's quite nice, the work that they've been doing. And yes, I think that it's and how they are doing that. This is very important too. They were able to reduce their costs by monitoring the beans with technology and information. So they were able to replan their truck routes in order to reduce their costs and invest this money in a different place, in a place that they can, for example, do seminars to engage population in order to do the right collection or to reduce their non-recycled products. So can you imagine a place that there is no waste? It is possible. It's happening. A whole city. So it's also a very nice thing to say and to learn and to see that we can. And of course, oh yes, just a last phrase that the founder of Polygreen told, the existing waste model is a cancer to our society. In 10 or 15 years' time, we'll look back at what we did and ask, why did we throw away all these valuable materials? We know that computers are full of valuable materials, and almost nobody are really reusing it because it's not economically viable. We have to use AI to help us to find a way. And I don't know. Roda!
O conceito de economia circular é bem simples e depois que a gente se familiariza com ele, parece até por que a gente não fez isso ainda, né? Porque na verdade é como a natureza faz, né? A natureza sempre reaproveita alguma matéria-prima ou um subproduto de algum processo em outro processo. Já havia um desejo dentro da Stellantis, né, de evoluir ainda mais no que eles já vinham fazendo no campo da sustentabilidade, porque a sustentabilidade não é um caminho que tem um ponto final, você sempre tem algo a agregar.
A parceria com a roda é muito importante para nós, porque ela gera um engajamento social, ela reduz resíduos, ou ainda mais resíduos, porque isso era pensado anteriormente também, e faz com que colaboradores, sociedade, todo mundo acabe se engajando numa causa que é muito nobre, né?
Mas eu sempre digo que eu sou um sonhador que me levanto cedo para poder, né, realizar. Porque chegava muita coisa e a gente dizia, meu Deus, o que é que vamos fazer, né, com esse material?
A economia circular é exatamente você pensar no design dos produtos, no design dos processos, já imaginando no futuro o que é que aquele produto pode se transformar. São produtos muito interessantes, esses produtos que a gente encontra no carro, né, ou no subproduto do carro.
Estou sempre aprendendo uma coisa nova. Uma pessoa olhando de fora nunca vai imaginar que isso aqui é de um airbag, de um banco de carro, uma sobra. Ninguém nunca vai dizer isso, porque é um trabalho assim muito perfeccionista. A gente trabalha com muita qualidade.
É preciso reunir saberes, é preciso reunir pessoas com matérias-primas, com produtos diferentes, né? Couro, que a gente reutiliza para fazer uma mochila ou uma necessaire, você está falando de um couro que está previsto, né? Está no DNA dele, quando ele foi construído, que ele vai durar mais de uma década, que ele vai durar várias décadas, né? Então, quando você transforma isso numa mochila, você atrela a qualidade dessa tecnologia para esse outro produto.
Então, pensar 360 graus como empresa é você pensar 360 graus na sociedade.
Não é com um projeto que vai se resolver o todo, mas é com um projeto dessa magnitude, dessa natureza, com essa potencialidade que muitas outras centelhas podem ser disparadas e que a gente pode realmente, de fato, acreditar que é possível ter uma forma de viver, ter uma forma de produzir, ter uma forma de estar nesse mundo que permita o futuro continuar existindo.
So I like this video because you can see the kind of materials, the kind of place that we found, the materials that we use, and also the way that we do that. We do it in a collaborative way. We do it by teaching different members of community, bringing people together to work in a different world together, to themselves, to paying them well, not only hiring them and making them a part of the process. So how do you choose wisely between one technological solution and another? If experience shows that most of today's solutions turn into tomorrow's problems, so be careful when you think something new. Be very careful. and consider all the things that we've been talking about, all the things that could impact the world in a different and not very good way, because it could be the fail of everything, not only of a company, but the whole system and ourselves, the way that we've been living here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mariana, for that wonderful talk. It was extremely inspiring, and I think you shared such a lovely, hopeful energy in the room. So it was really, really lovely. So unfortunately, we won't have time for questions, but just to remind everyone to ask your questions in Discord if you have them, and maybe Mariana can chat with you there, or also in the coffee breaks, please ask your questions to Mariana. I'm sure she'd be happy. So will you join me once more in thanking Mariana for a lovely keynote?
Thank you.
So I'll give the introduction while the speaker sets up. Now we're going to thank you, Mariana, by the way. We are going to have a talk by Dr. Raimundo Macedo, I hope I said it okay, who is a full professor at the Federal University of Bahia with a background in computer science and mechatronics. He coordinates a distributed systems laboratory, leads the task force on climate change and digital technologies at IFIP. He has served as a president of the Brazilian Computer Society and has held many leadership roles in various national and international organizations. And I have a bit more if you want me to. Yep. He has coordinated numerous research projects and supervised theses on distributed systems, fault tolerance, and real-time systems. So today, Raimundo will give us a talk on when green meets digital. And let's welcome him all, and we look forward to the talk.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me for this meeting. Gusto is there. Yeah, thank you, Gusto. Francisco thank you, Francisco, and Nivan. Oh, and Nivan. Thank you very much. We met in Brasilia last, I think it was July or October, in August, in the Brazilian Computer Society Congress. And then I was presenting a talk in a workshop related to green computing. And then they invited me. And I'm happy because it's a very, I'd say, rare opportunity to meet people who are really interested in this matter. So, if you need it, okay, thank you. Just okay. It's like issue from the beginning. Okay. It's okay. Okay, I'll explain this picture later. So this is the outline of my presentation. So I speak a little bit about my standpoint, just to, because I'm a computer scientist. And then I speak quickly. I'll say something about the Brazilian Computer Society manifesto on these issues, and then the findings of the task force on climate change and digital technologies. There, I'm the chair of this task force, and we just finished the work. Sorry. Okay. So my background is I'm a computer scientist. So why, how did I get involved in this discussion? So first, as a citizen, an activist for sustainability since old times. So I'm here, so you're not going to recognize me here. So I used to work in this environmental group called German for the preservation of the ecosystem of the Bay of All Saints in Bahia. And we have a very strong
petrochemical industry, who pollutes a lot also. So, and then this is the group, it's still active, the group. I'm not really very much involved with this group, but when I can, I meet the people. But then we have other things happening there. For instance, we have this mangrove area in Salvador, which maybe they only left, and then the construction industry is taking over all the area. And then we have this is a video, it's in YouTube, I did myself, that was 2012, and then we still are fighting to preserve part of this Atlantic forest, which is the locus for animals and lots of vegetation that's very important for the city. And then the impact of digitalization became clear to me, to many of us who were alive at that time, in the beginning of the century, and waste and the pollution caused by the manufacturing of digital components and also their disposal. So this is a report from an UN institution from the United States. And then I get involved with that as well at that time. So I had lots of talks and discussions. I'm really always interested in realizing the impact of these processes. Thank you for Mariana for all your expose about circular economy. It helps a lot on this for the whole understanding of this presentation. And at the time, people really are not really discussing about that. And then if you see the even for the Congress of what's leads National Congress on the Environment, they invited me, and I started to do that. After some time, I was doing so much without understanding the basis, of all of that. So I had to hold a bit this, but lots of things like presentations and even TV programs about this. This is a slide, a first slide of a presentation in 2004. So if you see here, it's a long presentation, it's 40 slides. So, but you see the way I exposing the way you manufacture computers, and then contamination for the environment, the disposal, the use as well for energy consumption, and also the recycling processes. And at the time, we are trying to suggest some measures. So things are very simple. It's not new. Any of those things are very old. The base of that is, I believe, is the economical model of development. It affects all the processes. You have these effects of earth warming, destruction of ozone layer, and genetics, diseases, cancer, and other diseases. That's 20 years before. And then new techniques, as you said about the cellular, you have to increase the time of life of the equipment, produce computers with components that can be replaced and reused. That's the example connectors. And I'm not explaining this, skipping really quickly because I have other things to show. And then some attitudes, like to be more conscious about ecology and avoid consumerism, like consuming things as Mariana just told us. And there are some labels that we should give some attention, because they sometimes are related to products who respect more the environment. So after 16 years, in 2020, at the time I was in the Brazilian Computer Society board. I was the president of the society at the time. So we started to thinking about these kind of issues inside the computing community. So these are some editorials about the theme. And then we built a task force in 2021 to discuss the problem. And then this task force ended up with a manifesto. With this manifesto, we sent it to federal government, to state governments, trying to give a few answers. As long as we could reach, we could see things. So this was about this task force was about a preliminary diagnostic, mapping solutions, long-term visions, and then of course the UNSDG 13 was the main point here, was climate change. And then we found some technical challenges, like openness. Well, as Mariana told us in this, we need to avoid energy consumption. So you must cooperate. You don't need to redo things. So first of all, we needed to have things opened to be reused in the computer world, hardware and software. Interoperate also, not avoid people redoing things again. And then we identified some technologies. And here is visualization, which we're discussing here. But these are all in the manifesto. So you can go there and read it easily. No need to spend much time here. And some actions that we thought are important. And we hope that government, state and federal will try to do that. They replied us thanking the manifesto and say, okay, let's think about that. For instance, we need a national policy for digital technology for climate change. We need to create a space for open science, so for collaboration in the matter. Also, we need to create an integrated and interdisciplinary hub to put people together, people who work on the field, and also some research ways of integrating solutions, so you can reuse as much as possible. And they also facilitate the modeling of environmental systems through multiple schemes, and then that is a little bit more technical. And then in 2022, we proposed and start this climate change and digital technology task force. And then I will go briefly here. I just ask somebody just to say me when there are 5 minutes left, because I can. Oh, thank you. That's perfect. So I just presented this last month in Lisbon, was the final document with the recommendations for the things we have done in this task force, and then I go through it. This is the outline of the presentation there, why the task force was created, a history of the task force in the final report, and then I will skip a little bit here, but then motivations. We have some alarming data about climate change. So global temperature has increased by 1.1 degrees since the late 19th century. And 2023 was the hottest year on record, already exceeding 1.5 centigrades, the threshold set by the Paris Agreement in 2015. Sea level has risen about 21, 24 centimeters since 1880, with the rate of this rise nearly tripling in the last decade. Current projections estimate a further rise in 0.3, 1.3 meters by the end of the century, potentially displacing millions of people living in coastal areas, including Recife, as I may guess. This is The frequency and intensity of extreme weather events have really increased significantly in the recent years. For example, the number of heat waves has doubled since 1980s. And I was in Lisbon at the time. Exactly last month, there was a problem going on in Lisbon because Portugal is among the worst affected countries as climate change ramps up extreme wildfires. So the frequency and intensity of these extreme weathers, oh yeah, that's I'm back, sorry. And these, I went to the newspapers and I got these photographs. At the time I was there. Those days, more than 50 people injured as 59 for fire burns across country due to dry and windy weather. And then others, I saw lots of news, different websites. Portugal declared state of calamity. And then I went also to try to see if we had some information. And then on the scientific side about those things in Portugal in particular. So I have this Nature scientific report of 2017, which was built a model who predicted that these things will worsen in Portugal. That's not what happened. That was, well, you can see that. I have to go quickly because of the time here. So there are some challenges ahead, big challenges. We have an agreement, and I think this Paris Agreement and all UN Sustainable Development Goals, they are really a good thing that we can be attached and be proud of and try to work to help in this kind of goals. Global temperature needs to be limited to 1.5 degrees above pre-industrial levels. So people admit there is no way not to avoid this increase, but then let's limit it to 1.5. What happens is that the Earth is already 1.1 warmer than it was in the late 18th. And emissions continue to rise. Emissions need to be reduced by 45% by 2030 and reach net zero by 2050. These are some targets for the agreement. However, achieving net zero emissions by 2050 seems unattainable without significant efforts. So national climate plans for the 193 countries that signed this agreement, what they practice now would lead to an increase of almost 11% in the global greenhouse gas emissions by 2030 compared to 2010 levels. So ICT can help, yes, in two ways. By minimizing the environmental impact, because we produce impact, a great one. So we are part of the problem. But also we can develop technologies for sustainability. It can be part of the solution. And then that's why we started to discuss and try to propose some recommendations. This is the history of the task force. We started 5 minutes. Okay, we started. It lasts more than we thought. We planned initially for 1 year, but then we spent 2 years. These are the people involved. As you can see, there are people from different parts of the world. It's quite well represented. This is the structure of the report. So we have climate change and digital technology, a discussion on basic concepts also about climate change, and then recommendations, which goes into the ICT domain, and also for key applications that we thought they cause lots of impact for greenhouse emissions, like energy, production, manufacturing, agriculture, transportation. So this is the rationale behind the report. We have climate change concepts, and then strategies to combat climate change, and then required technologies for those strategies. And then we come to the second chapter about recommendations. And we have recommendations for the ICT domain, industry. You see circular economy, the first thing, the first recommendation. We are sending this for everyone that we can, even the United Nations is going to receive this also. And applications areas, also we wrote some recommendations for that. Disaster response and recovery, it's very important. You see, we have to learn to adapt to the situations. For instance, what happened in Porto Alegre a few months ago. And education awareness, that's very important for us in the university mainly, but for every citizen in the world. So the urgency of the climate crisis necessitates immediate actions. Task Force strongly urges all stakeholders to implement the recommendations outlined, and individuals adopt sustainable digital practices. So computer societies promote sustainability within the ICT industry by organizing educational events, supporting research and development for ICT solutions, fostering collaboration, advocating for open science. And organizations implement green ICT practice, invest in renewable energy. Also, governments invest in ICT research and development led by example in adopt sustainable practices. Educational institutions integrate sustainability into curricula. It's very important to do that. And promote research in sustainable ICT, encourage students to engage in projects and initiatives to address environmental challenges in community, foster a culture of sustainability by organizing local initiatives. We must foster global cooperation for digital sustainability. And the potential is huge, but we don't have much of time to do that. Time for actions now. You can get to this report. It's open in the digital IFIP digital library. That's the link. And that's it. Thank you. I have still 4 minutes.
Thank you. Does anybody want to open with questions? Anybody in the audience, or should I? Okay. While you think, I have a question prepared. Okay. So first, it's fascinating to hear that you have such a long history with sustainability and computing. I don't think there are many people that can claim that. I mean, I had another question prepared, but I guess the first one is more, how do you think things are getting better or more organized? Like seeming of how many organizations like this you've been involved in?
Well, I think, yeah, the very good question is, we speak about this for such a long time. And I think the core problem is the way society is organized, the way they produce goods. And but I like the UN work. It's very good. So IPCC, and you have ETU, and you have lots of different agencies and bodies in UN with producing reports and very well-intentioned people working. And I think we should pay attention to what they are doing.
Anybody else has a question? Because I have a follow-up. Like, how should we pay attention then? What should we actually doing? What should we do?
Well, first of all, go to the manifesto of the Brazilian Computer Society. It's a 25-page manifesto. Also to this report, a 30-page manifesto. And we try to influence educational systems to put that in curricula. This information should go to the children, first of all, to build the next generations. It's a change of mind, of way of culture, of way of thinking about the world. I think in the end of the days, the real solution is education, and make people more conscious about their role in this planet, as Marianne just gave us a good example.
Great. Thank you. Somebody was pulling. I was. Thank you very much, and we can have a more discussion in the coffee break if you're interested. Okay.
Hello, everybody. I'm Lesandro. Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here today with you. And I would like to talk about climate. Of course, it's a very important topic for us today. And talk about technology in the intersection between technology and climate. But most of all, I'm interested in talk about people. I'm very interested in talk about us in this contest, in this situation. Um, let me talk a little about myself. I'm from Belo Horizonte. I live there. And this year we experienced 155 days without rain. The last time we had something like that was more than half century before. So it's a very interesting, curious, and dangerous situation. Uh, I would like to talk about it as a citizen, as a person, as a human being, but also like a researcher. I study at the intersection between climate action and technology, computer science and climate action. Climate change, we are not already know about climate change here. We are already feeling its effects. And one important effect of climate change is extreme weather. Unusual, unexpected, severe, and unseasonal weather that we are all somehow experiencing nowadays in different parts of the country, in different parts of the world. For example, I brought you just two cases. The case of uh, Amazon jungle that experienced this year a very big, extreme drought, many days without rain. In the case of Porto Alegre, that all of us saw what happened there, and that the city experienced a very extreme flood. So we are observing, that's just two cases. I could also talk about the case of Belo Horizonte in 2020. I can also talk about the case of São Paulo, 2023. I can talk about the case of Petrópolis, Rio de Janeiro, in 2022. There are many cases that we can start to think, oh, many things are really happening in the country over the last years. So when I start to be interested in climate action, I understood that we have two main dimensions in climate action: the mitigation actions that seek to stop climate change, to address the cause, so that the climate change will not intensify or not happen in some situations. But we also have to address the impact, because last decades people didn't act to stop climate change. Now we are experiencing its effects. So what we can do, my interest now is what we can do to deal with the effects of climate change that we are already experiencing. Of course, I think we need to work on mitigation. Mitigation is very important, need to stop climate change, but people are already experiencing these effects. And what we can do to make it a little less worse. In these climate actions efforts, we have one important that's risk communication, to inform people about what is about to happen, and resilience, that we can help the communities to be prepared to what's coming. My main effort is understanding how the role information technology can play in this situation. Which kind of adaptation and prepared action can benefit from this technology? How can you use information communication technology to inform the population at risk that something is going to happen? And what negative outcomes can occur when these technologies, these information communication technologies, are not used properly? What bad, what can happen in this case? In Brazil, our organization of institutions, of authorities, is a multi-level climate organization. We have the level of the country, for example, the Brazil Civil Defense, and we have this organization at the level of the state, for example, the Civil Defense of the state of Pernambuco, where we are, and at the level of the city. For example, the Civil Defense of the city of Olinda. And this is just warning that change of revenue of the next 24 hours, and warning from the Olinda Civil Defense. So this is an effort of the authority, of the municipal, of the city level, trying to inform the population to be prepared about a civil war that is about to happen. The use of the social network to inform in this kind of situation is something that we are interested in understanding. If we study the actions conducted by these authorities at the social networking, we can see how they articulate themselves. We can see this case, for example, the Rio de Janeiro, Porto Alegre, Belo Horizonte, and Belém, the municipal authority, the authority at the level of the city, interacting with other authorities to organize, to share information about what's happening in order to inform the population how best act or react in face of the situation. We can observe the multi-level organization too when we assess how these authorities are using social networking in this context. But I'm of course very interested in the technology, but I'm interested in understand the effect this technology causes on people. I'm studying human behavior. I'm very interested, and I do some research and teaching in the field of human-computer interaction. So I'm very interested in study also the human dimension of this problem. For example, human, we know that have a cognitive system, and this cognitive system can lead us to some situation, experience some cognitive bias, and we have emotions, and we can be, for example, anxious in some situations. And we have social behavior. For example, we can organize ourselves in communities that share common interests. So for this talk, I took these 3 points to talk a little about more. Let's talk about cognition. One effect that I start to study when I become interested in climate action was the normality bias. The normality bias is a well-known cognitive bias in climate change, that the belief that things will continue as they are in the past. It's some way to think that, oh, if I'm not experiencing the effect of climate change, I will not experience the effect of climate change. If it's okay for me, nothing will change in the future. It's okay now. And this is not normal in many parts of the world. People think this way. And even when people experience some severe weather, they start to think, oh, this severe weather wasn't so bad. So it's not a big problem. But the effect that is a little danger, very dangerous, that make me feel very uncomfortable about that, is that when the authorities notify the population that, oh, today we will have a heavy rain, but it doesn't come true. And the next day, the authority again say, oh, today we will have a heavy rain. And again, it doesn't come true. In the third day, people are no more prepared. The authority can say again, you have a heavy rain, but people normalized the fact that the authority says something, but that thing doesn't come true. So it's a very big problem, and it's happening in many situations. Let's talk about one example. This new of São Paulo, what happened in São Paulo last year, and the governor of São Paulo state of São Paulo says that SMS alerts before the tragedy in São Sebastião were not effective. That is something that we are observing not only in São Paulo. We observe this in many parts of the world, the country. Many cities are experiencing something similar. When we have a heavy rain in Belo Horizonte, I usually receive 10, 12 alerts or warnings from the civil defense. And I can judge this alert, I can judge the situation, but people that are most interested in understand how we can help are people that's not well educated, people that are not at university, people that live in the favelas, people that live in risky areas of the city. And these people are not prepared to judge what is happening, why so many alerts that doesn't come true. Another effect that I'm really interested about that is the climate anxiety. Climate anxiety is not always bad. Anxiety can be good because anxiety can motivate me to take action. I'm concerned about the situation, so I will react. I will do something to change the situation. But anxiety can be really bad too. People can start to think, lose control of that, and can have a problem to sleeping, to working, to socialization. 2 years ago, I was in Germany doing my postdoc, and I had a very good friend. She was trying to have a child. She was making a big effort to have a child and take medicines for that. And someday we're talking, and she told me, "Oh, Alessandro, I'm making this effort to have a child, but I don't know which world I'm bringing this child, which world this child will live with this effect that we are seeing of climate change." 2 weeks ago, I was talking to my student, about climate change, and he told me something similar. Probably, if you talk to people about climate change a lot, you probably have heard something like that, because it's a very common situation. I told you just a few minutes that we experienced 155 days without rain in Belo Horizonte. And as the secretary of my department at the university knows that I'm studying something related to climate, but I'm not a climatologist. And every day she asked me, Lesandro, when will you have some rain? And started, I don't know when you have some rain. I can do some research with you. We can see what the civil defense is saying, what INMET is saying, but I don't know, because she was really anxious about what was happening. So we can observe many of the situation that people are experiencing. We have some facts also about that. Climate crisis create equal anxiety. I couldn't get off of bed. I took some medicine. It's happened with ordinary people, but it's happened with us too. This case is a case of researchers that start to understand what is going to happen. Many researchers, many climatologists are very concerned that we are experiencing today what was expected to happen 10 years in the future, not today. Some become very anxious about what is going to happen in the next years. And also, climate anxiety is very related to extreme weather. So people are start to experience this even more, and which kind of information people have to deal with this situation. People also have social behavior and start to organize in communities, self-organization of people that share common interests. So if the warnings from the authority doesn't work, what people do? Feeding rain, residents of São Sebastião creating an alternative warning system. They all, this warning doesn't work for us, let us try to organize, to inform each other about what is happening in each part of the community so that we can take action if it's needed. If we try to understand this in the perspective of technology, we have two ways of communication. The one-way communication, what the authority the authority doesn't spread information to everyone, just send message to all the community population saying that something is happening. The warnings via SMS is an example of that. And the two-way communication is that in which we talk with each other. You can say something, can answer to me, and we can have a conversation about the subject. In climate change, in warnings that we are, in warnings about climate, the main way of communication is one way of communication. Just because the authority cannot have a conversation with each citizen via social network, for example. We also have the approach that is top-down and bottom-up information flow. What is happening usually is a top-down. The authority knows everything, they knows what is happening, know when we will have some rain, know when the rain is really having now, and they inform the population. And there is a bottom-up approach, information flow, in which people can share the information and we can see what is happening in each situation. We, some years ago, when I became very interested in climate change, we did some research to understand how climate authorities in Brazil are working to inform the population using social networking. We studied 5 climate authorities in Belém, Belo Horizonte, Rio de Janeiro, São Paulo, and Porto Alegre. What they use top-down approach. The authorities just inform the population. Population doesn't have reaction. It's a one-way interaction, and one size fits all. It means that in a big city as Belo Horizonte, the authorities said, oh, in the Pampulha neighborhood is raining now. But the people in all the parts of the world are not interested in this information. They are seeing things that for them has no meaning, no importance. So the one size fits all approach just cause information overload. And it's suitable for inform the population about something that's happening in all the city. It raises concern about the trust in the authority. So it did many studies about what the authority is informing and how people are reacting to the situation. Let's say to you a little about how people is reacting. People usually when people respond the authority, they are disagreeing with information about the location. Oh, you are saying that it's raining here, but here there's no rain. So they are correcting the information, complement the information. Oh, we have some fraud here, and you doesn't inform that. You don't inform that for the population. Updating with the current information was rain, but no, there's no rain no more, and inform about donation and expression thanks. Usually people responded to the authority not often. They do that has a reaction for something that they are seeing and that's not correct. The majority of citizens just answer once and never interacted with the climate authority again. So it's clear that they are just reacting for something that they disagree. What also we also observe in these studies about communication about climate between climate authority and the citizens is that the best platform, what would be the best technology for inform the population about climate change? We can design a big technology, we can design a big information and communication technology so that the climate authorities can use it. The problem is that these technologies, people are not in this technology. What the authority is trying to do is, we must be where the citizens are. I can design an app to inform the population. But will people use this app? Most no. No, we will not use this app. So I must be where people are. That's so we can criticize. I'm criticizing the technologies that have been using, but this is technology that people use. So they are using what people use. And we also have a big problem because the governance and design of the technology impact how effective is the work for the climate authority. For example, Twitter or X is much used by climate authority, but when Elon Musk take over from Twitter, it changed many policies and many climate authorities was unable to use that platform to inform the population because the limits of the time you can see or post something on Twitter. So using a platform, a corporative platform, can also be a big problem in some cases. Oh, from these studies, I tried to understand how we can improve that, how we can solve that. And I think that we can use the bottom-up approach sometimes, people inform. We can use the top-down approach sometimes. But the ideal situation is that we have to do it together. I was talking with a student, have a life story very similar to my story. This student lives today in a risky area in Belo Horizonte. He told me, Alessandro, in this time of election, many people come to the favela and say, oh, I know your situation. We know your problem. And we will help you. They know nothing. Because to know what happened in the favela, to know what happened in the favela during a heavy rain, you must live in the favela. We're not the people that you come to these people and say to them, oh, this is a solution to the problem. If we want a solution, we need to build the solution together with these people. Oh, it is something very difficult to do. We have a very big and beautiful experience in South America about how to do that. If you consult the work of Paulo Freire from Recife, Paulo Freire that passed in this university, his work about how we can work together with society is very valuable for what we are trying to do. And also the work of Orlando Falsborda from Colombia about participatory action research is a way that we can use to try to be close to these people so that we know how to inform them, how to work with them to build bottom-up solutions that they can use to express what they think is important to be expressed. So participatory action research, participatory science, community science, co-design, participatory design are ways for we to try to do things together, to build technology together so that we can be more effective than we are being today. Thank you very much.
Thank you for this very inspiring talk. Do we have any questions in the room? Yeah, please.
Hi. So, as a personal experience, I was an exchange student and I was able to live in Ohio for 6 months. And when I was there was a warning about a tornado, and it was like so scary. Like I have never seen that before because we don't have it here in Brazil normally. So I was just about to sleep and my cell phone was like bam, 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 bam. And I was so scared. And like that worked really well with me. And so it was telling me to take shelter like right now, right at the moment. So I was just trying to get help as I was there. So um, I just thought that I think we have technology and investment in sensors to have something like that in Brazil, or moreover about like air quality. I know that when I access the weather app in the Apple devices, I can have access to also weather apps. And I know that's important also for your friend that was trying to have a baby, because if you have like too much contact with um, you know gases, you may have some issues with having a baby. So um, I was just wondering, why don't we have it here in Brazil? Because I know we have access to those content, and why this technology of communication and information, I think, why is not spreaded around like um, everyone else?
I have some hypotheses about that, but before that, I would say that the case of that you observed in Ohio, São Paulo, after the situation last year, São Paulo is implementing a new warning system that does that block your entire phone, so that you need to see that message, not only an SMS. It will block your phone. You need to see that something is happening, so that you cannot ignore the warning no more. But your question is very interesting, because make me think a lot about many things. Why we don't have this sort of technologies here? My hypothesis, I don't know, I don't have a final answer about that, is the same, because why the term heat wave, the first time I start to think about this term was just 5 years ago. Why? Before, I didn't study at the school about heat wave. I don't remember as a child people saying about heat wave. As an adolescent, as a teenager, people doesn't talk about that. Why? Because these things are becoming increasingly frequent. We are experiencing now problems that we don't experience at the past. So now we are realized that we need technology that we need now technology that at the past it wasn't so important, because it wasn't needed. In the case of United States, they are experienced that sort of problem for many years in many problems. Perhaps we are a little slow to implement things, but I think we are experience new things that wasn't in place before. So we need now to think about it, use that sort of technology.
Any other questions in the room? From the back, feel free also.
Hi, thank you for the really great talk. I found it so interesting, your discussion of kind of the weather warnings and the false positives, and this idea that when you keep warning people, they become kind of immune to it. You know, this kind of boy who cried wolf idea, which I don't know if that translates well, but this idea that people will kind of start. I come from Ireland, where we have very unpredictable weather, so it's not exactly the same, but everyone ignores the weather reports because it's never right. So I'm curious about, I suppose, presenting the certainty of information, or the lack of certainty of the information, and what kind of role that might have in helping people to, I suppose, contextualize these types of weather warnings, or these types of alerts, so that we can maybe try and not just understand, okay, there's, it's yes or it's no, but this is the chance. And then does that, or might that have a role in helping people to be a bit more literate about these things or a bit more understanding of them?
Okay, thank you for the question. This case of this warning is a little just to establish a difference, a distinction between the one that we are observing at the internet and the apps. This sort of warnings is the climate authority from the city saying to you, "Oh, take care because you have a heavy rain." So it is an information that you are expected to be very let's say to give that information a lot of attention because it's coming from the authority, the climate authority from the city, the civil defense of the city. And considering that, there is an uncertainty of the information that because they are doing an estimation, they don't know for sure what will happen. And the people that I'm studying are not people well educated, are not people that are talking about climate every day, and are not people that are at a university. There are people that problem you problem to understand probabilities. You have problem to understand percentual of things. So the understanding of the uncertainty of this sort of information for these people is much more difficult than for me, for example, that know what happened, the sort of algorithm that has been used, and something like that. What we need to know and we don't know is how to inform this to people in a way that they understand that, oh, it's a probability. That's where I think visualization can be very useful because we can have a different way to pass this information in a way that people, it can happen, not happen, so you understand what is going on. It's not just on a message saying that, you have a red brain, but no, a visualization that can be very insightful and very helpful in this case, for example.
I think we have one more minute. I don't know if everybody's okay to okay.
But my question would be regarding this information fatigue that we have. In France, we color code the level of warning. So for example, red, you basically don't leave the house. Orange, it's be warned, something may happen. Yellow, go about your business, but chances are your roads may get flooded or something like that nature. So we have color coding to try to mitigate this risk. But perhaps in situations where you're dealing with people who might not have the capability of understanding this, it might be more for the authorities to be prepared to intervene. And so to a certain extent, perhaps what we should be looking at is less the communication towards the populations and the authorities that will go, help out, do all of the emergency housing and things along that nature. So just
you also have this color scheme here in Brazil. The climate authorities use it a lot, but I'm not sure that people understand what does it means. And don't know. I know that some climate authorities in Brazil do a very big work. I can say the civil defense of Belo Horizonte is very, very good. When something starts to be bad, they are out of the city, they are informed the population, they send many messages. I think that's the point. They prefer to make a mistake by excess of information than the lack of information. So, but exactly, yes.
Thank you for your presentation. Thank you very much. It's a very challenging problem because you're trying to work with this community. Just your thoughts about that, because those people already live in those risky areas because they don't have money to live in a safer place. Also, they don't have escape areas, escaping areas. So if they get informed, where do they go? So I think I know you must maybe have some consideration about that. How do you think these kind of things can be conciliated? I mean, in a way you need information systems, but if you don't have a proper housing infrastructure for people, how to handle these situations?
I think when you use the proper infrastructure, housing, it's a very good way to start the conversation, because for people that live in these areas, the risky areas, they are not want, oh, you can go to this place that you are, but because to be that place is not the same to be at my house, that I have all the freedom to do my things. I have my dog. I have everything I want. I think it's comfortable. So people are not so happy to leave their house. It's not because they are also not aware of the risk. They are aware of the risk, but they are trying to do a risk, like a risk benefit model. So I can take this risk or not. And I think I don't have an answer. I know a lot of these people. I come to very poor families in very poor regions. I understand a little of the mental model, but I think in each community, what we need is to hear what they have to say, what they want, how they think we can solve this problem, what they expect from us in a risk situation. What they expect me to do, to move to another area, to place you in another house. What do you want? So that we can start to think what we can do. I don't have an answer in this case. Although I know a little about their mental model.
I think that's an amazing point to end in that we're experts, but we don't know everything, and we need to include the communities, right, that we're working with. And I would like to thank Alessandro one more time for the amazing talk. And just, I'm going to take the opportunity to give a feed forward that we're going to have workshops on designing on these kinds of topics exactly tomorrow and the day after. So we're going to look at how to make this kind of information more accessible in practice. So hopefully you'll join us.
Just a little message. So now we're going to have like a 30 minutes coffee break at the end of the hall. So maybe you can form a line so that we can go there, grab our food, and then spread throughout the patio and everywhere, okay? So see you there.